We kick off with this ominous footage and insight into the moments before and after DJ Warras' murder.
CCTV footage supplied to EWN shows two men, one believed to be the gunman and the other his accomplice, allegedly involved in the shooting of Warwick Stock, aka DJ Warras, on December 16th in Joburg CBD. At 16 minutes after 12, Stock is seen in a black t-shirt, accompanied by an unidentified man on his left in a white t-shirt. Stock has just exited Zambezi House, a hijacked building on Van Wielig Street in Marshalltown. Stock was there to assist contractors who were installing a biometric system in the foyer of the building. The pair walk out of the shot towards Fox Street. According to testimony by the investigating officer, Stock briefly stepped into a vehicle he was using on the day, an Audi Q7, which is parked just a few meters away near some street vendors. Out of shot in this footage, evidence by the IO says Stock opens the passenger side door, gets into the vehicle while having a conversation on his cell phone, before closing the vehicle and locking it. He then starts making his way back to Zambezi House. It's about 54 seconds since Stock is seen exiting Zambezi House, now 17 minutes past 12, when we see people frantically ducking for cover. In the commotion, we see the alleged shooter in the crowd. Stock was shot 5 times. The alleged gunman is dressed in a green t-shirt, blue floral shorts, sandals, and a cap. The shooter then doubles back and picks up something from the ground, possibly the keys of the Audi Q7 that Stock was using, as the keys were never found, before he calmly walks towards Fox Street. From another angle, we see another suspect picking up 2 bags near the informal street vendor stalls. The Audi Q7 is parked just out of shot. One of the 2 bags is a dark yellow gift bag. EWN understands the gun used to kill Stock was concealed in this gift bag. The main shooter was captured earlier, flagged by his accomplice, carrying the same bag. The shooter then quickly follows his accomplice as the pair make their way towards Fox Street.
Captured. That's how Dion George describes the Democratic Alliance and why he says he's leaving. A factory shuts down. South Africa's illicit economy claims another casualty, with hundreds of jobs disappearing. Also in the news, a historic moment in spacecraft. NASA carries out the first medical return from the International Space Station in its 25-year history.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
The death toll in Mpumalanga has climbed to 19 after weeks of heavy rain. Emergency services are struggling to reach some areas. Roads and bridges have been washed away, and power outages continue. Weather forecasters say parts of Mpumalanga and Limpopo have received nearly half a year's rainfall in just 3 days. And it's not over yet. More rain is on the way.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has arrived in Limpopo following 4 days of intense rainfall that has resulted in flooding. Now, we've seen roads, bridges and infrastructure submerged underwater as a result of this said flooding. Now, the response on the ground by provincial government has been immediate. However, in the same breath, the provincial government says that it is undercapacitated and cannot deal with this issue alone. It has requested assistance from National Cocta in hopes of securing funding for those who have been displaced or moved away from their housing as a result of the floods. Today's rescue missions yielded some positive results. An SANDF helicopter streamed down and was able to retrieve a woman hanging from a tree. Now, it's understood that this mother of a 5-year-old was swept away from her house with her child strapped on her back before the strong current separated the two, resulting in the child being washed away. However, the mother was rescued and taken in for medical treatment. It remains unclear if the child survived the incident and if she has been found. Monke Zikoko, Eyewitness News, Mbaula Village, outside Giyani in Limpopo.
The impact of this has also reached the Kruger National Park. Sandparks has suspended day visits after flooding trapped visitors at Crocodile Bridge Gate. All camps are closed. So Dion George has quit the Democratic Alliance. George announced his resignation from the party and from Parliament, saying the internal environment had become intolerable. He claims he was being pushed out and silenced. The fallout follows his removal from cabinet last year and a public clash with party leader John Steenhuisen. George says he can no longer serve in a party he believes has lost its voice. An unchecked illicit market is reshaping South Africa's economy, and British American tobacco is the latest casualty. BAT says it'll close its Heidelberg manufacturing plant by the end of 2026, blaming the scale of illegal cigarette trade in the country. The company estimates that illicit cigarettes now make up around 75% of the domestic market, costing the fiscus about 40 billion rand in lost tax revenue between 2020 and 2025. Around 230 jobs at the plant will be affected. BAT says it's reached breaking point with 3/4 of the market now dominated by illicit trade.
We've raised concerns about illicit trade for years, providing data and proposing solutions. While some in government have genuinely tried to help, the overall response hasn't been enough to protect the legitimate businesses and the jobs they create. With illicit industry currently at the size and scale it is, only a coordinated whole-of-government response can make a difference and a real impact to tackling the scourge of illicit.
1,427 people died on South Africa's roads during the festive season. That does mark a 5% decrease in road fatalities compared to the previous December break. Still unacceptably high, though. The figures were released this morning in the Transport Department's 2025-26 festive season road safety report.
There was a notable increase in fatalities from the 15th to the 28th of December. These 2 weeks contributed more than 40% to crashes and fatalities. And this confirms that festive season crashes and fatalities increase once travellers reach their final destination and are engaged in festivities rather than during the peak travel period.
Uganda went to the polls today under heavy security. President Yoweri Museveni is expected to extend his 40-year rule. The vote opened during an internet shutdown. Police have moved against the opposition. One newspaper urged citizens to, quote, election-proof their homes. Museveni faces a challenge from singer-turned-politician Bobi Wine. Polling stations opened slowly. NASA has rushed an astronaut home from space after a serious medical emergency aboard the International Space Station. 4 astronauts, known as Crew 11, splashed down off the coast of California today. The mission was cut short, marking the first medical evacuation in NASA's 25-year history of ISS operations. The crew had been in orbit since August. Nothing routine in a space flight 400 kilometers above Earth.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.